day sa ating mga viewers. Welcome po again sa aking show na Live Life, Live with Belle. And today, sobrang swerte ko po na nakapagpanayan po ako or mai-interview ko po isa po sa mga kilalang director ngayon dito sa Pilipinas. He is the former president of the Directors Guild of the Philippines. So, Ma'am Linda, thank you po talaga at nagkaroon po ako ng access or chance para malaman natin guys kung ano po yung about passion in directing, yung buhay ng isang director, paano naging director, at lahat po ng mga aspiring po, ang mga nangangarap din maging filmmaker. This show po, tunghayan natin ang isa sa mga kwento ng buhay ng isang direct, Mike Sandejas. Yes, good day po sa inyo.
Thank you for having me.
Yun, sobrang overwhelmed po talaga ako at nagkaroon po ako ng chance para makausap po kayo. So this show po is basically more into yung mga hindi pa nag-grow, learning sa mga taong lalo na sa mga millennials ngayon, lalo na po sa panahon ng COVID. So this time is the best time for us to think about a lot of things. And kasama po yan is the inspiration together with that po naman kasi maganda rin naaangkop or nasasabayan ng inspirasyon ng ibang mga tao, successful people, for us din na maging successful, tsaka magkaroon din kami ng roadmap. No? So, question direct is, sino po ba si Direct Mike Sandejas sa bahay at sa work?
Well, magandang tanong yan, ano? Kasi a lot of people tell me parang may dalawang pagkatao ako, no? Sa bahay, I'm just like any regular fellow. I don't do anything out of the extraordinary. I play basketball, I play video games, I watch Netflix, ganyan, ano. But at work, medyo iba yung pagkatao ko kasi I'd like to think that I'm very professional. So, medyo mahirap kasi ang trabaho ng director, lalo dito sa Pilipinas. Kasi, ang kalaban mo parate oras. So, kailangan pulido ang trabaho mo. You did your homework bago ka dumating sa set. Kailangan mabilis ang kilos mo, mabilis ang decision making mo. Kasi pag tumagal kayo, nangyayari dyan, tumatagal yung shooting, tapos dyan ay naririnig nyo na medyo lumalagpas yung sa oras. Napapagod yung mga tao, nagkakasakit yung mga tao, nagkakasakit yung mga director. So, lahat yan kasi, ikaw ang kapitan ng barko. So, kailangan, stricto ka. So, may reputation ng mga director sa Pilipinas na mainitin ng ulo. Hindi naman ako masyadong ganun. Minsan may elementong ganyan na hindi natin maiwasan. Pero always because, you have everybody's best interests in mind, including your producer. So, kailangan, pag magiging director ka, dapat stricto ka, at saka dapat masipag ka. Hindi pwede yung naglalaro ka lang. Kung akala naman ng mga tao na napaka-glamorous ng trabaho namin, hindi din totoo yun. Siguro pag meron ng film festival, nanalo ng award, may kasamang artista, may ganun. Pero totoo, dirty work kami. Para kaming mga kapitan ng sundalo. So pag pumasok kami sa shooting, parang shooting talaga. Yung sa shooting ng parang pumasok sa gera. Kailangan gawin mo yung kailangan mong gawin. So, ang pagkatao ko, habang nagtatrabaho, medyo stricto ko. Pero sa bahay, I'm like a teenager. I'm into geek stuff. I love Star Wars. I own lightsabers. I play basketball. I watch the NBA. Magkaka-NBA na ulit. I watch movies. I play video games. I read books. Ganun lang. I'm always just at home. Pero pag nasa set, medyo magbabago talaga. Kahit yes.
So, it's like basically kailangan ma-promote yung discipline.
Yes.
Right? Kasi parang pag wala yun, kasi you're supposed to lead the production. So, I think it's very essential, guys, na ganun yung mga director. Kasi, once po, na-experience ko po yung maging extra. Like sa, so, naintindihan ko minsan talagang maiinit na yung mga ulo. It's because, may mga extras kasi na minsan hindi naintindihan kasi nabababad sa init or any thoughts po naman sa ganun? Sa side naman ng extra.
Ganito, no? I'll look at it with a bigger picture.
Okay.
Productions in the Philippines cannot compare to productions, let's say, in Hollywood because we have a limited market. So, the local market is very small. Unlike in Hollywood, medyo world market sila. So, there's very little money to utilize to produce films and TV. Okay, so siguro sa commercial, medyo okay pa kasi brands nagbabayad nun.
Yeah.
Pero if you asahan mo yung movie tickets or yung nanonood, yung viewership sa TV para makabenta ka ng airtime, medyo maliit ang market natin. So that being said, we don't have, lagay na to, kahit madaming tao sa shooting, minsan kulang pa rin. So pag mas konti yung tao, mas mabagal ang kilos ng production. So look at the bigger picture. The hard part about, meron kasing hierarchy yan eh, syempre yung mga extra, medyo nasa ilalim sila. As much as we want to respect naman the people, we generally respect persons. Sometimes pag may nangyaring mali, hindi naman kasalanan din minsan ng extra. Maybe may nangyari something earlier, nagpapatong-patong yan. So tao lang din naman ng mga so minsan nagkakaroon lang din talaga ng emotional effect sa lahat, So kung nabulyawan ka ng director mo, ako nahihingi ng dispensa. Pagkatapos naman ng shooting, walang personalan yan.
Parang wala na.
Oo. So kasi if you understand the pressure of the entire load of the production will be on the shoulders of the director. Siyempre, pag kunyari, ang bigat na sa amin, medyo emotional na rin kami. Nababaling namin yan sa mga assistant namin, napapagalitan namin, bakit dito, bakit ganyan, lalo kung may ginawa silang mali. O kanina may ibabaling yun. Minsan nangyayari, bumababa yung isip mo. So, hindi tama yun. Hindi talaga tama yun. Pero minsan ganun nangyayari. So, kung may na-experience kayo sa mga kapwa kong director na medyo hindi kayo natrato ng maayos, ako nahihingi ng dispensa. Intindihin nyo rin kami. Now, that being said, yun nga, kasi nga, ginagawa namin ng paraan para matuloy yung shooting, para lahat may trabaho. Kasi maliit ang perang binibigay para lang mabuo yung production. And we have to make do with that. Kami, yung responsable na gawin yung kailangan gawin with what little we are given. So, minsan, di ba, ang tanong nga lang dyan, sa mga nakapaging director, sigurado ba kayo? Di ba, mahirap ang trabaho natin.
Tsaka to add up, may timeline talaga yun, may deadline pati, right?
Ang shooting, at sa lectures ko, this is how I phrase it. Filmmaking is war. Time is the enemy. Kalaban mo, oras.
Agree po. Now po, bago po kayo na punta sa larangan ng pagdidirect or pagiging isang director, ano po yung mga pinagdaanan nyo? Like, teach pa kayo?
Ang nangyari,
yes po.
Unorthodox yung aking path. I was not a film school graduate. I did not go to film school. Nangyari, pangarap ko yan. Problema, syempre, yung magulang ko. Mahal ko magulang ko, yung tatay ko engineer, ang nanay ko abogado, gusto nila maging engineer ako.
Yes.
So nangyari, sumubok ako sa abogasya. Hindi po ako tumagal. No? Nung sabi ng mother ko, hindi ka umubad sa isang school, mag-apply ka sa ibang school. Kaso mag-aantay ka ng isang semester. So doon sa isang semester niya, gusto ko magtrabaho. Sabi ko, maghanap akong trabaho na panandalian. Nakahanap akong trabaho bilang PA sa isang production. Doon sa, yung naging mentor ko na director, the late Gil Cortez.
Yes.
Address the soul, nangyari, nag-umpisa ako, anong ginagawa ko, nagtitipla ako ng kape. Bukas pinggan, nagsiselo ko sa mga script. Ganyan ang umpisa. Ganyan talagang umpisa sa lahat, kahit nag-graduate ka pa sa film school. Paramihan kasi ng mga ibang gumagraduate sa film school, sila shooting kagad, direct kagad.
Yes.
Ang importante, ginawa ko, nag-apprentice ko. Dahil nga hindi ako nag-film school. Natuto ko sa mga tinabahuan kong director. At swerte naman ako, yung mga nakatabahang kong director, magagaling. Tulad ni Gil Cortez, ni Lab Diaz, at saka ni Mike De Leon. Si Mike De Leon po ang pang-idolo ko talaga mula pagkabata sa larangan ng pelikula. Naging mapalad ako na nakatabaho ko siya at natuto ko sa kanila. Then naging producer po ako na line producer, ibig sabihin parang project manager ng mga pelikula. Hindi ko talaga pinangarap paging director pa ng panahon na yun. Biglang nagkaroon kasi ng wave of independent films, lalo na doon sa tinatawag na Cinemalaya Film Festival. Pagkatapos ng unang Cinemalaya, napansin ko na magandang pamamalakad nila kasi mga kaibigan ko yung unang sumali. Doon sa pangalawang Cinemalaya, sinubukan ko na sumama. So, ginawa ko, nagsulat po ako ng script. Base lang sa mga natutunan ko sa work, nagsulat ako ng script, natanggap. Ito sa first script I ever directed, I ever wrote. Then this was the first film I ever directed. Nung una nga, parang ayaw ako tanggapin ng Cinemalaya kasi wala akong track record. Eh, tinanggap nila ako. Sabi na, sige, parang susugal sila sa akin. At pinalad naman ako nung sa festival nung 2006, ako po ang nanalo ng Best Picture. So, medyo nagpapasalamat ako sa Diyos na nangyari yun. At saka, alam mo yung may mga bagay talaga na kailangan talaga i-surrender mo kay God. Noon time na yon, sabi ko, Lord, bahala ka na. Kung para sa akin to, bahala ka na sa akin. Pinalad ako manalo ng Best Picture. Umabot po yung pelikula ako po yung unang nag-compete na Filipino film sa Busan International Film Festival. So, sa karangalan ko din yun. So, pagkatapos po nun, nag-umpisa na ako mag-direct for a living. So, gumagawa na ako karamihan ng kliyente ko, nasa advertising, nasa government. Pati nga po, militar, naging kliyente ko. In fact, ang Philippine military, unang client ko na nagbayad sa akin bilang isang director. So, hanggang ngayon, kaibigan ko pa rin sila. So, yun ang nangyari sa akin. Naging director ako, started making a living. I made my second film in 2009. At tungkol po ito sa mga bingi, so nagkaroon ako advocacy for PWDs. Umabot po, tinanggap po ito sa Toronto International Film Festival. At yun ang pinangmataas na naabot ng career ko. After that, I haven't done a film yet because I started working with TV and advertising. Naging in-house director po ako ng Abracadabra na production house. At saka nagtrabaho po ako sa TV5. Ako po yung nagpatakbo ng nakaraang Philippines Next Top Model. So, medyo kakaiba yung path ko. Kasi, from indie films, top model, di ba? I mean,
yes.
Medyo,
paano po pala yun? Paano pag biglang nag-shift yung parang ibang concept?
Film kasi, pag naiintindihan mo kasi the possibilities using the principles of cinema, which I lecture about nowadays.
Yes.
You know that for every story that is given to you, it should be given a particular treatment. So, nung nag-landing po sa akin Philippines Next Top Model, medyo napaisip din ako. Sabi ko, hindi naman ako fashion guru.
Yes.
Ano na alam ko dito? So, ginawa ko, yung pagkasulat ko po ng Top Model, ginawa ko siyang konting halong Amazing Race. So, yung mga challenge ko kakaiba. In fact, medyo naging funny yung ibang challenge kasi nga, medyo kakaiba yung pag-iisip ko. Pero maganda naman doon, yung mga originators ng Top Model, natuwa sila doon sa ibang challenge ko, nagpaalam sila, pwede ba daw nila gamitin? Sabi ko, of course. Diba, natuwa ako, nakakontribute ako doon sa show. So, what worked for me was, I did not have your traditional eye for a show like that. So, I made it into my own. And what happened was it became something different, and yet it still kept the spirit of the show. I was very happy with the way that turned out. Tapos ayun po, yun siguro yung huling major project ko outside of yung videos that I do and commercials. Ganyan po.
I'm just curious, Direk. What is the most challenging part of directing?
Yung pinaka-challenging kasi talaga, minsan, ako kasi personally, I do things differently. I'm less traditional in the Filipino film sense. I utilize a lot of classical principles in what I do. Ang mahirap sa pagiging director, yung pag nasabihan ka, hindi mo pwede gawin niya kasi wala tayong pera.
Yes.
Because you cannot afford it, you cannot do what you want to do. So, yun ang pinakamahirap. But, that's a reality. In any production, even in Hollywood, kahit sila may budget din sila, kahit ilang milyon yun, kahit yung budget nila, pang budget na ng gobyerno natin, may mga hindi pa rin sila happy.
Yeah.
Lalo na siguro sa atin, especially if it's an independent film that you can't afford popular stars. Kasi alam naman natin, canceled po ang mga mamayan ng pelikulang Pilipino dahil gusto sila makita yung mga popular artista. Pag hindi namin kaya bayaran yung mga sweldo ng mga yun, wala kaming pang-draw ng crowd. In which case, it lessens the projections of the business model.
Yeah.
And for it to work, you have to bring down your overhead. It means,
I agree po.
kumita ka, kailangan yung ginastos mo mas maliit. So, kung mas maliit ang budget mo, may gusto kong gawin, sabihin sa'yo, sorry, direct, wala tayong pera, wala ka
Yes.
mag-a-adjust ka. Yun ang pinakamasakit. Kasi we have
With
a
the
lot,
budget, right?
yes, there are a lot of very talented filmmakers in this country. But they do not have the resources to be able to execute a lot of their ideas. Maganda naman dyan, nagkakaroon na actually ng pagsasama yung big studios at saka yung mga filmmakers na baguhan. So nagkakaroon na, umaangat na yung kalidad ng pelikula natin. That's may mga filmmakers na nagagawa nila gusto nila kasi sinusuportahan sila. Tulad ng yung bagong director na magaling, no? Si Mick Red, si kaibigan ko. I'm very happy for him that he's able to push the limits of his cinema because he's supporting him. How I wish I could say the same for myself, but my paradigm is different. I don't work for big studios. I have my own company. I am a creative director in it's just a new company. It's called Ubuntu Premium Studios. Ang business model namin actually we target foreign networks.
Oh, okay.
Hindi namin target ang local. So because I think my cinema is more or outside the country than from within it.
Yes.
Ang isang problema kasi po natin, marami po sa mga kababayan natin, hindi sinusuporta ng pelikula Pilipino.
Absolutely.
Tignan nyo po, may kaya naman kumita ng isang pelikula ng malaki sa bansa natin. Kasi kung palabas ang isang Spider-Man o Avengers, naglalabasan lahat. Pero pag Filipino film ang pinapalabas, may threshold yan, may limit yan. Week in, week out, hindi nagbabago na ito yung mga taong nanonood ng Tagalog. So, ang nakakalungkot to, nasa na yung iba na nakakadagdag pag may Star Wars o may Avengers.
Yes.
Ito po yung kamihan sa kaila ay nasa middle class, sa upper middle class at sa upper class. So, bakit? Pag tanongin mo itong mga tao na to, tanongin mo, bakit hindi kinanood ng Tagalog? Sabihin nila kasi hindi sila interested dahil nga hindi lang gusto yung quality, hindi lang gusto yung So, ang advocacy ko is to try to bring up storytelling in movies, movie production, movie storytelling, to be able to appeal to these people. Kasi as happy as I am that Philippine movies brings joy to our masses, because of the economy, especially at this time, wala pa tayo sinihan ngayon.
Yes.
It's very hard for somebody from the lower classes to spend a 200 peso ticket for one movie. Dalawang oras lang. Whereas yung 200 pesos, madaming pagkain mabibili para sa pamilya nila. And sino po yung tunay na may purchasing power niya? In any economy, it's always the middle class. So you have to pander to them. What I'm trying to do is try to create films. Kasi yung mga yan, anong pinapanood ng mga yan? Gusto nila yung mga Spider-Man, yung mga nasa Netflix. Kaya din naman natin yun. Hindi ko naman sinasabi pangit yung ibang pelikula. Sinasabi ko, ibang market ang sinaservice nun. If we can come up with films that service the middle class or the upper classes and convince them to invest their time and their money to buy a ticket once a week, can you just imagine how big the industry can become? And given that kind of resources, imagine how many films and how much we can uplift Philippine cinema and be recognized as such. Mag-cross over tayo to different markets. Kahit sabihin mo sa Asian market lang. Nung nasa Korea po ako, ma'am, pag pumasok ka ng video store, may isang shelf Chinese, may isang shelf Korea, may isang shelf Japanese, may Indonesian, may Malaysian, may Thai. Nasa ng Pilipinas?
So, basically showcasing their own production of films, which is Philippines.
Tayo, wala. Because hindi nila mag-get yung pelikula natin. Dahil na, siguro ngayon pa lang, magandang bagay na nakikita natin ngayon sa Netflix yung ibang pelikula. Pero hindi pa rin lahat nandun. Natututo na rin tayo. But I think we should have the eye on the ball that we should be targeting our middle class to upper class people.
Yes.
Because the bread and butter of any local film should be the local market. And that will support, yan yung naging Korean model. Dahil sinuportahan nila pelikula nila, pati yung big business nila, ginamit kasi nilang pelikula for nation building. Eh dito hindi nila nakikita yun. Dahil nga hindi kami export industry. Dahil din dyan, hindi recognize ang movie workers ng Dole as an industry. We are grouped together with freelancers. Kasama namin mga ambulant vendors. That without which we do not have legislation for our benefits. Yan po yung mga pinaglalaban ko dati nung presidente ng DGPI. Kami po sa DGPI, ang forerunners ng para sa rights, not just of expression, but also for the rights of our workers. Problema, hindi nakikinig ang gobyerno kasi wala kaming pinapasok na dolyar sa bansa. Paano magawa namin? Kailangan supportan tayo ng babayan.
Yeah.
Dapat bumili, kung nakikinig kayo, sana bumili po at least once a week or even once a month. Go watch a Filipino film. One ticket goes a long way. If you can bring your friends, your family, just to watch. If you didn't like it, I apologize. But meron namang magaganda, hindi nyo lang nare-realize. Give it a try. Ayan po. So in that context po, lahat yan domino effect. Pati po yung extra maapektuhan. Yung sweldo sa extra, tataas yan basta may perang pumapasok. Pag may pera, mas madaming oras.
Budget. Oo.
Init ulo ng director. Kasi wala na yung pressure. Na-poor so domino effect yan. Importante lang, sana lahat ng Pilipino, sana gumastos tayo ng konti na bumili tayo ng DVD. Bayaran natin yung streaming, bayaran natin yung movie ticket para po mag-infuse ng more money sa industry. Although tricking ngayon, dahil COVID, wala tayong sinihan, hindi ko pa actually alam paano ko sasabihin.
But actually, sir, meron lang nag-pop up bigla sa isip ko eh. Can we, or is it possible to do like virtual movies? Like, diba, like in other sites, you can just pay, then they watch the premiere movie itself.
Kunwari Zoom, dito, pwede ko mag-share screen, di ba? Para bayaran nyo, mabigay yung link, manood tayo. Pwede yan. Pero ito ang importante dyan. Yung gagawa niyan, kailangan siya yung may-ari ng pelikula.
So how about developing like an app, like a Philippine app, na, they
Madami
have to pay or subscribe?
Kasi marami yung streaming, madami ng opportunities. Of course, Netflix is still the number one. Medyo pumapasok na yung mga American streaming sites sa Pilipinas, like Amazon. ABS has its own. Doon siya namubuhay ngayon. Nakalimutan ko yung pangalan, something TV. Ang Signal is still strong with cable. They still produce a lot. Madaming opportunities. You can self-distribute using Vimeo and YouTube na pwede kang maglalagay ng added element na kailangan magbayad. Or you can do your own screenings. Ito, parang sa Zoom. Kung may pelikula ka, mag-schedule ka ng Zoom screening. Magbabayad sila, bibigay mo yung link. Ngayon, kung may namigay ng link, kailangan naka-register yan. Pag may pumasok pala pangarap, patalsik mo. So, etong ginagawa natin, pwede ka magpa-premiere sa Zoom. And that's you just have to be, they call it nowadays the hustle, no? You just have to hustle and figure it out. I don't have a film right now, but I would do this. Instead of films nga na pinapakita ko, what I'm doing is lectures on Zoom.
So, yun guys. So, it's just one way of basically, sa panahon ng pandemic, it's one of the ways where we should spend our time, or isa sa mga, nasabi ni Direk, na pwede natin gawin via Zoom. Ito pa po. Now, I've asked for the challenges of directing para sa isang director. Para lang po sa inyo, isang opinion lang, or opinion nyo po. Yung qualities po, paano nyo masabing magaling ang isang director despite of the challenges na nangyayari?
Okay. Medyo mahirap sagutin yan, Kasi parang, when you talk about art, relative.
Lahat magaling eh. But sa inyo lang naman po.
May mga pelikula si Sarah hindi maganda, pero ang maganda sa isang tao minsan hindi maganda or vice versa. Ultimately, it's the understanding of markets. Paano magaling isang director? Ako, ganito na lang, being a director kasi, madaming responsibilities yan. Unang-una, you have to be a leader. Because your primary role on the set is not even directing. Directing, I mean, the art of what's going on. It's directing personnel. Kasi pag pupunta ka ng gera, ang isang pelikula, may saying kami, it takes a village to make a movie. That means, kahit hindi kaya mag-isang gawin yan, madaming tao ang kailangan. So, yung pag-conduct, yung pag-utos at pagturo na sa mga tao mo kung ano dapat gawin, isang skill yan. Kung effective ka dyan, masasabi ko magaling ka director kung isa ka magaling na leader. Pangalawa, yung art aspect, paano mo masasabing maganda when art is relative? What is beautiful to one might not be beautiful to the other. But the point being, ito yan, importante maliwanag sa yung vision. Pag isa kang director, lahat yan, kulay, ilaw, lahat ng sinabi, paano sasabihin, ano naririnig, lahat yan dapat nanggagaling sa'yo. Inuutos mo lang sa mga tao mo kung paano nila gagawin. So, dapat complete yung vision mo. Meaning, hindi ka papasok sa set na doon ka palang mag-iisip.
Okay.
So, dapat pinag-aralan mo lahat yan, whether ikaw nagsulat o hindi. Bago ka dumating sa, long before you make it to the set, dapat yung pelikulang gagawin mo o yung TV show na gagawin mo, nandito na. Every detail, the devil's in the details. If you do not have the vision, tatagal yung proseso. Kung nag-experiment, doon ka, hindi ko pala gusto to. Ito na lang. Hindi, palitan natin. Kung nagdidili-dali kasi decision making, kasi hindi maliwanag yung vision, kawawa tao. Ahaba yung oras. At chances are, dahil nga napagod namin yung tao mo, papangit ang gawa. Now, third, una, leadership, sunod, vision. Pangatlo, kailangan kabisado mo yung medium. When I say that, it's not just the visual medium, but everything, every aspect of film, dapat kabisado mo. Hindi yung iaasa mo lang. Iaasa mo yan kasi trabaho yan. Hindi na kailangan ikaw pa nagbubuhat ng ilaw. But when you compose everything, it's like conducting a symphony, conducting an orchestra. Dapat you know what every instrument does in that orchestra. Kasi para makonduct mo ng tama. So, dapat kabisado mo yan. Dapat pinag-aralan mo yan. You don't have to go to film school to understand. That's what I'm doing. I'm lecturing about film so that I break it down in a layman way so that anybody can understand. So, the thing is, you have to understand every aspect. Because if you, parang ano yan eh, I always say, if you want to become a doctor, you study medicine. If you want to become a lawyer, you study law. You want to be a filmmaker, you study film. Hindi dadating ka lang doon, turo-turo ka lang. Hindi ganun yun. May mga tao ganun ang ginagawa. Akala mo magaling na. Yung sa akin, siguro sometimes nagagawa naman nila effective or just right. But then, if it's yung tama lang, nagawa mo ng tama lang, yung pwede na, you just wasted the opportunity to create something really awesome. And the knowledge of cinema, in fact, I phrase it like such, hindi ko tinatawag siya film o movie, I call it cinema. The knowledge of the art of cinema is so liberating. Once you understand it and you know how to execute it, the possibilities are endless. And I like to think, a lot of our filmmakers kasi, medyo kulang pa sa kaalaman tungkol sa mga pwede nilang gawin. Hindi ko naman sinasabi na hindi nila kaya gumawa ng pelikula. Kahit sino pwede gumawa ng pelikula, cellphone lang eh. Pero if you are armed with principles of cinema, a lot of which were not invented recently. They were invented way back in the turn of the century, 1900s. Kung alam mo yung mga bagay na ganyan at paano siya nag-evolve, at nahanap mo yung boses mo, gamit yung mga elemento na to, the possibilities are endless. I mean, that's how I teach it. Ano mangyayari dito? Ito, meron na ito, at hindi mo subukan, at hindi mo gamitin. And that way, maybe makahabol tayo sa pelikula ng ibang bansa, tulad ng Korea, na hindi lang bastang nanalo ng Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film, nanalo siya ng Oscar for Best Picture.
It's like lagi silang may signature style of...
Yes, because they have a clear-cut national cinema identity.
Mm-hmm.
Pero sabi mo, pag nanonood ka pelikulas, di ba masasabi minsan, parang Korean, ba't ganun? Yung Filipino, paano natin malalaman kung Filipino yung isang pelikula? Pinag-uusapan din yan namin sa mga lecture.
Yes.
Kasi, nangyari, we do not have a distinct cultural identity in our cinema.
I agree po.
Because, I don't know why, maybe it's because we do not realize that we should infuse it. And I think we just dismiss our culture to be something of a melting pot because we were under the Americans, under the Spanish, under the Japanese, or what. But people have to realize that's actually what makes us distinct. If you look at the things in our culture, what is culture? Behavior, cognition, motivation, how we act, our sense of humor, how we dress. Wala kasi tayong Department of Culture so wala tumutulong sa atin dyan. So, responsibility ng artist para maturo yung tama, mapalabas natin, ano ba talagang kultura natin? Hindi yung i-dictate natin, yung natingin natin, anong kultura natin. Kailangan natin hanapin, ano ba talaga? galing sa tradisyon, galing sa history natin. Ang mahirap kasi dyan minsan, syempre, everybody has the need for humanities. Ang readily available will always be what you see on TV. So, it has always been my advocacy, not that I'm bringing them down, I'm saying, kasi ang networks, syempre, ang primary motivation dyan is profit.
Yes.
So, syempre, kung ano yung kwela sa tao, yun ang bibigay nila. Pero sana may responsibility din tayo na intindihan nila na sila ang de facto Department of Culture natin. Kasi nga wala tayo sa gobyerno ng Department of Culture. So, nangyayari dito, kung ano yung madalas panurin, yun ang nag-dictate ko ng kultura natin. Puro bihis na tao, paano magsalita yung mga tao, paano tayo magpatawa, ano pangarap natin. So, wala naman ako sinasabing masamang ginagawa talaga ng time show. Pero medyo nalilimitahan actually yung possibilities ng tao. Kasi ang naging pangarap nila, yung nakikita lang nila, yung sa pinapakita nila. Paano panawakan natin?
Nawawala, I mean, it's like the movies like at this point are losing out of track. O yun nga, when we talk about culture, pag kinumpara natin yung movies way back, punong-puno po ng representation ng what Philippines is all about. Now, paano po kaya yun? How do we try to mix the Philippine culture plus yung millennial na po ngayon, plus merong mga technologies and all of the influence to make it up into like a solid Philippine movie? Paano lang sa inyo po?
Medyo mahirap gawin yan.
Oo.
Matatalo lahat ng tao. Ano ba talaga?
Pero para sa inyo?
what we need really are braver artists to start experiment.
Okay.
Kung mangyari dyan, what do you think is Philippine culture? What do you think should be Philippine movie identity? Then go do it. Then let's see. Tapos mangyayari naman dyan, mahilig naman gumaya din diba? So, maganda yan, o sige, gusto ko gumawa din ng ganyan. Soon enough, if people get to experiment, we will eventually stumble upon it na makilala tayo. Meron naman tayong Philippine cinema identity, pero medyo hindi tayo nire-respeto sa pinapakita natin. I think, bato-bato sa langit, tamaan, huwag magalit. I think we're too dependent on the melodrama, which is actually a genre that's the least followed in the entire world. So, nangyayari, we're not getting any popular because of it. People kind of stay away from us because our melodramas are a little over the top. Ang excuse naman dyan kasi nga tinatangkilik ng mamamayan natin. But, like I said, it's an understanding of markets. Maybe we can do with our opportunities to show other films that are not melodramas to the foreign market. Kasi ako, ang gusto kong mangyari talaga, maging export industry ang pelikula. Kasi ang pinapasok natin pera, galing sa labas, hindi umiikot ng sa loob. So, nangyayari doon, aangat ang industriya pag may bagong pera pumapasok sa bansa at papansinin kami ng gobyerno dahil nga may perang pumapasok. So, pwede, sige lang, go ahead, tax us if you're helping us bring money to the country. But as it is, we're being taxed and yet, there's no support.
Yeah, yun po. I believe yata sa ibang bansa, suportado ang filmmaking, right?
Yes, and because the market is strong, malaking pera talaga yan. So
if you were to voice out, hindi naman sa pagano, to voice out to the government or to everyone.
Nakakatakot mag-voice out. Marami ng away nangyayari dyan. I think, ganito. This is all that I'll say. There are organizations inside the government that are supposed to be helping the film industry. I think the right people should be put in the leadership positions of those organizations. Because the past how many years, hindi na ako babanggit kasi ayoko na makipag-away. Pero yung pang liderato na, yung mga umuupo sa mga posisyon na yan, ay hindi karapat-dapat. Lalo na yung nakaupo ngayon.
Okay.
Na hindi ko na po ibigyan ng pangalan kasi sigurado away.
So, ayun. Kasi, alam ko talaga na there should be like a market. I'm not expecting huge, but it's one way of ano na rin talaga yan eh, it's a form of patronizing our country, our own, yung being
The
country.
government should, these government offices that were created to help the film industry should be helping developing markets. Instead of just spending government money for trivial things, they should develop markets and they should be held accountable for deliverables. Hindi yung nagbayad ka para meron tayong isang booth sa isang Asian film market o sa isang international film market, pero wala ka naman na benta. So, gumastos ka lang. So, kailangan intindihin mo, paano ba ang benta? Sa ilang taon na tayong pumapasok ng international film markets na we partake of that. The deliverable, apparently, was that to them, is considered that we actually took part. I think the deliverable now should be, we actually sold something. So you look at it, how many Filipino films are actually distributed around the world in the past 10 years? Ilan lang, maybe a handful. Most of them are art film distribution pa. That means that's a very limited distribution. Probably the most successful one was Eric Mati's On the Job that had mainstream distribution in North America. Yun na. Bakit? Kung nagawa ni Eric Mati, ba't hindi natin pa gawin yan sa... Diba? So, dapat yun ang pinag-aaralan. Doon dapat napupunta yung pera. Hindi nag-iinuman kayo, namimigay ka ng trophy.
Like going going parang part of research na rin sa ating government. It's part of for the culture and ayun, to increase more market. Kasi I believe na nananalo tayo sa mga international movies.
The film festivals, we win awards.
Yes,
Pero Belle, I have to tell you this,
Yes.
if you win an award in an international fest, does it translate to the economic aspect? Not necessarily. Number one, it depends on the festival that gave you an award. Not all festivals are created equal. So lahat na lang ng filmmaker dito sa bansa na to, award-winning. Pero yung ibang awards sila, nanggaling sa maliliit na festival na actually, totoo lang, racket lang. Pinaracket lang kayo. Kasi pag tinanggap ko sa isang film festival, wala kang kikitain doon. In fact, I've been teaching filmmakers na pwede kang mag-charge. Nung panahon ko na may pelikula ako umiikot na film festival, nag-charge ako, minimum ko $200 sa screen. Pero din yun. So, nangyayari kasi dito, you're made to feel na it's a privilege to join a festival. Pagdating mo doon yung festival nila, isang teatro lang. Tapos lahat ng kitain ng ticket sales, walang napupunta sa'yo. Yung hotel mo, sponsored yan.
Okay.
May ticket ka na panglipad mo, swerte yun. Kung minsan kami naman maliliit, walang ticket, pero may hotel. So, magagastos ka pa ngayon sa ticket mo. So, ang siguradong kakainin mo dun, yung kasama sa hotel na breakfast. So, minsan walang lunch dinner yan. So, pupunta ka na Balita Festival, gagastos ka pa. Wala kang kinita. Ngayon, pag uwi mo, siguro may trophy ka, anin mo yun. Lalagay mo lang sa shelf mo yun.
Yeah.
Just because you have that trophy, does it mean that people will come watch your film? That depends on the festival. Kung kilala yung festival, prestigious, yan may pag-asa. Pero kung hindi, to be honest, I discourage parang filmmakers to join just any festival. Be a little more deserving. If you feel that your film deserves more, humabol ka na mas malaki. Kung tingin mo naman na, hanggang dito lang naman ako kasi tanggapin ko na to, prestige na rin yan, okay lang din naman. Pero mangarap tayo na mas mataas. Huwag tayo magmalaki ng isang bagay na hindi naman dapat malaki talaga.
Speaking, sir, of teatro, na-mention kasi sa akin na meron kayong a little bit touch of theater arts.
Well, it's something that I've always wanted to do. I have to admit that I've never done it. But I consider the late Tony Mabesa as one of my mentors. Alongside si Direct Alex Cortez of Ulang UP. I work with a lot of theater actors. And, the basis naman of cinema, you always go back to the basics of theater. There are things that are different, but ultimately, theater is a good, training ground eventually for cinema. But please know that theater, in order to shift to cinema, galing kang theater, madami ka pa yung kailangang pag-aralan. Pero at the very least, nandun yung gandang foundation. Very good foundation yan. There are some things in my lecture that I teach and I point out that these are theater principles as well. Because nga, doon nag-umpisa ang cinema.
Yes.
Kasi nung naimbento ang cinema, ano ba unang naimbento ang film? Ang unang ginawa nila, film nila ang isang theater play. O imbis na isang teatro, isang set ng actors, tapos isang gabi lang. Dahil na naka-record na yan, ipa-project nila sa madami, makakabenta sa madaming ticket. Diyan po nag-umpisa ang Hollywood. So nag-umpisa talaga ang cinema dahil sa theater din. So a lot of cinema principles take their root in theater. But as far as I'm concerned, it's something I still want to do. Na nakikita ko myself in the next 5 years. Pag siguro medyo safe na wala ng pandemic.
Theater arts.
Yeah, it is part of my dream to write and direct and even act in a theater play.
Wow.
Someday.
Oh, why not, diba? Kasi, as long as, it's more on exploring things. Tapos, guys, sa mga manonood, I hope this inspires you a lot. Do not forbid yourself on exploring yourself, your hobbies, yung mga gusto nyo, and aspirations. Marami pa tayong matututunan kay Direk. Meron po nagpapatanong, Direk.
Sige po.
Kung may pamagat o pelikula kayong gusto na aangkop ngayong pandemya ng COVID, no? Sino po ang mapipiling yung leading lady at leading man? At tingin niyo po anong magiging pamagat ng movie? Haba ng tanong. Okay. Sige po.
Okay, I am working on some. Okay, abangan niyo na lang, no? Hopefully, actually bukas yung isang meeting namin sa next week. So, hopefully, ma-solidify. Baka maglakas loob po ako mag-shooting sa panahon ngayon. Dahil nga yung sinulat ko talaga na ganap sa pangyayari ngayon.
Okay.
Naka-integrate.
Ako pala yung tanong ko. Abangan pala yung sagot. Abangan.
Hindi ko pwede bigay muna yung...
Yes.
Well, the truth of the matter, may isa akong pinaplano. Ang napili ko pong artista doon, yung kaibigan ko po si Rian Ramos, kasi naniniwala ako sa talent niya. Tsaka mahal siya ng camera, maganda po siya tingnan. Lahat ng angulo po na sa kanya, walang pangit.
Perfect.
Naniniwala ako sa talent ng kaibigan ko. Meron akong nilulutong isa na naghahanap pa ako ng artista. So siguro kung makarinig nito, hanapin nyo na lang ako sa Facebook. Baka sakali kung may talent kayo, why not? Ano hinahanap ko dito? Sa lahat po ng trabaho ko, may isang added requirement ako para sa mga artista gusto kong cast. Kailangan po sila ay musikero. At least know how to... Pinakamaganda kung marunong kayo mag-gitara, mag-piano at kumanta. Dahil sa mga pelikula ko po, yung music element is very strong. At ayoko po dinadaya na kunwari nagpa-piano kayo, daliri ng ibang ginagamit natin. So it's a plus if you're a musician as well. So, yun. That being said, I have friends who are musicians. In fact po, si Jet Pangan, ang bida ko sa unang pelikula ko. At siya po ay nominate ng Best Actor sa Korean. Para sa pelikula namin. Dahil yung pelikulang ginawa ko, tungkol po sa banda niyang Dadon. Yung po yung nanalo ng Best Film sa Cinemalaya. So if you're interested in watching that, it's readily available in my Facebook group, the Sandejas Film Lecture Room. If you want to join my lecture, siguro mamaya pa-promote ko yun, yung pinapalabas ko sa mga estudyante ko. So lahat po ng ginagawa ko, malakas po yung music element. Isa po sa mga idolo ko sa pelikula, yung Americanong director na si Cameron Crowe. Nang gumagawa po ng mga pelikula na malakas po ang music element. Yan po yung...
Kasi po, yan sana yung next kong question. What distinguishes or the signature style of directing ni Mark? I'm sorry, with you, Direct Mike Sandejas. So, it's with my musical element.
Malakas po yung music element. Bakit? Hindi po ako musikero. Tutukan niyo ako ng barrel, hindi ako makakanta. Hindi pa rin. I cannot play music or sing even if my life depended on it. But what I found out early in my directing career, you give me a song that I love, I'll make you a movie about it.
Oh.
Yan po yung aking formula.
So yan ang parang trademark ng isang director.
Yan po kilala. Pati po yung mga commercial na ginagawa ko, pag may music element, ako po yung hinahanap nila.
So, ayun. So, ang next question is, sa isang director po, bilang isang director din, sa kasagsagan po na meron tayong COVID-19 pandemic, ano po ang mga naging thoughts or mga naisip ninyo gawin within this lockdown po?
Ayun nga po, no, nabanggit ko nga yung lecture room. Paano po nangyari yan? May oras pa naman tayo, no? Magkukwento lang po
Of
ako.
course po.
Siyempre po, kung 2020 po, madami akong project. Lahat po yan ay biglang nawala. Dahil nga nagkaroon tayo ng COVID. Buhay pa naman yung ibang kontrata, pero syempre nag-aantay po tayo ng panahon na medyo mas safe kasi medyo malaki po yung gusto gawin. Hindi po pwede yung ilang tao lang. So medyo naisip tabi lahat. So syempre po nalungkot ako kasi hanggat hindi po natatapos itong pandemya na to or hindi naging safe, natatakot po ako ilagay sa danger lahat ng taong makakasama ko dito. Hindi mali ko na ako magkasakit. Pero kung may iba nagkasakit lang dahil sa isang ginagawa ko, hindi ko kakayanin konsensya ko yan. So nalungkot po ako. Totoo lang po, nung umpisa ng quarantine, ako'y lungkot na lungkot. Ay, hindi ko alam ang gagawin ko. Tulad nung kami ng mga Pilipino, nawalan din ho ako ng trabaho. So naisip ko, tapos syempre, hindi po naman po ako doktor. Tapos ayun na, yung mga katulad ko, tinawag na non-essential. So magkukwento lang po ako konti. Nangyari sa akin, nanonood ako ng Netflix. May napanood ako isang American na TV series sa science fiction. Pangalan po ay Salvation. Nangyari yung kwento po nun, may isang meteor na tatama sa Earth. So habang inisip ko lang paano tigilan yung meteor na yan, na hindi gumuho yung mundo. May isang silang spaceship na ginawa. Ang pangalan po Salvation. Yung Salvation po, kayang maglagay ng 160 na tao na ipapadala sa Mars. Lahat ng gamit na kailangan nila para magtayo ng colony doon, meron. So kung sakaling hindi na matigil yung meteor, ang tanging mabubuhay nila sa isang katauhan, yung 160 na magkakasunod. So ang ginawa po doon sa kwento, nagtayo sila ng isang komite para piliin kung sino yung 160. Di syempre prioritize sila yung mga doktor, mga nuclear physicists, mga ganyan. May isang miyembro ng komite, na isang writer na batang babae, tinanong, paano po yung mga artists? Paano po yung mga dreamers, yung mga musicians? Sagot sa kanya ng mga scientists, hindi sila essential. Abay, nalungkot po ako. Sabi ko, kung sakali guguho pala mo ito, hindi man lang ako nag-qualify magkaroon ng silya dyan. Sigurado naman ako, may mas magaling director na dapat nandun. Pero at least man lang, yung ginagawa ko, may representative ako. So, nalungkot ako at that moment. Pero agad-agad, yung karakter na nagtanong, yung batang babae na artist, sinagot niya kagad. Parang ganito yung sagot. Yung para saan mo pa sinalba ang sangkatauhan kung iniwan mo naman yung kaluluwa. Hindi ko naisip ko, oo nga, no? What is it that makes us human? It is the humanities. I mean, even if science is important, what is the soul of humanity? It is the arts. And at that moment, I said, I am essential. I may not be able to help create a vaccine for COVID right now, but I can help make people keep sane or feel positive because that's what the humanities does. Nang naisip ko po, paano ko naman gagawin yan? Hindi makakapag-shooting. Outside of being a filmmaker, ako po yung isang guro. Ako po yung nagtuturo ng mass comm at saka film dati sa St. Scholastics College sa College of St. O'Neill. So ginawa ko, naisip ko, ano kaya mag-lecture ako? So, nagaya ako ng mga kaibigan, tara mag-Zoom tayo, magle-lecture ako kunwari. So, nag-lecture kami, nagustuhan nila. So, medyo kumalat. Sabi yung mga ibang kaibigan, kailangan mo gagawin yan, inulit ko. Mamaya, nadagdagan na ng topic. Tapos mamaya, meron na kami Facebook group. Tapos ngayon po, may 300 na po akong community. And, minsan nakakapagod na po. Kasi minsan, 4 or 5 times a week, nagle-lecture ako gabi-gabi.
How do you manage it po direct?
You know, normally it's at night. So, I'm not doing anything at night. So, I used to sleep really early because I like waking up early. Dati kasi mahina internet ko. Malakas ang internet ko, mga alas 3 ng umaga. So, tulog ako ng maaga para magagising ko, para nakaka-download ako ng mga bagay-bagay sa ng alas 3. Nagpalit na po kami ng internet. Malakas na po internet namin. So, ginawa ko, nalaman ko, lahat ng gusto mag-lecture, kami sa kanila gusto gabi. So, nangyari, nagiging regular schedule namin 8 ng gabi. Normally, 8 ng gabi, wala na naman akong ginagawa. So, minsan, pag medyo wala ako sa mood, naka-record na yan. I-play ko nila yung recorded.
Yes.
Or, kung gusto gawin ng live, lalo kung bago yung lecture, gagawin ko. Una, it's also my therapy. I feel that I'm doing something for people. And I created the venue not only for them to learn, but also for them to socialize. So, imbis na gumimik ka sa bar, dito ka na lang sa aking lecture room. Madami ka pang mga kaibigan. In
Yes.
fact, yung mga hindi magkakakilala ng una, ngayon nag-add na sila sa Facebook, magkakaibigan na sila, tawagan nila classmate. May nagliligawan pa nga. Sabi ko, bahala kayo sa buhay nyo. So, we've created our culture, meron na kaming mascot, may mga ganyan kami. So, talaga kulang na lang sa amin, basketball team eh. Siguro, pag pwede na.
So parang these are one of the changes in adapting the new normal. So
what happens is, I instead of creating a film, I explain cinema to them. Whereas when they watch a film now and they get to apply what I teach to them, they get to unlock a lot of things that they never noticed about films before. In fact, if you join my lectures, you will end up wanting to watch every film you've watched before just to see what you missed. And the feedback has been good. In fact, on August 8th, I'll be giving a nag-pro bono lecture ako sa isang Catholic youth group na interested na mag-create ng content online for God. So, syempre, ginawa ko, sige, libre na yan. So, I probably have maybe 50 to 100 kids on August 8th, probably lecture 2. So, I offer these two organizations with a cause. Right now, some corporations, some ad agencies, some schools have already expressed interest. So, I make a little money on the side also. Kasi, just to keep things, para naman sa effort ko din. Hindi man ako yung mayaman dito. In fact, yung mga binabayad sa akin, ginagawa ko. Pinabibili ko ng libro online. So, para may maituro ko, kailangan tama tinuturo ko, ako ngayon nag-aaral. So, sabi ko nga, dahil ko pa yung nagmamasteral degree ngayon kasi ang dami kong bagong libro dito na hindi ko pa tapos. Pag magagawa ko ng bagong lecture, kailangan tama. Ayoko naman sabihin ako na peke ako. So, bago ko i-announce isang lecture, kailangan nakahanda ako. So, yan po nangyari. And in essence, in doing so, I think my own cinema sense has evolved. So, personally, I'm excited. I really am excited to do another film because I don't know what my new film will look like now, given that I've learned so much. Over a period of 2 months, yung ibang workshop po na binibigay, minsan mga 5 araw lang tapos na. Kasi ang point ng ibang nabibigay ng workshop, silang kumita. Yung sa akin, gusto ko may matuto at gusto ko matuto mga tao. Isang rason lang din doon. Hindi lang, dalawang rason po yung pagtuturo sa tao. No? Una, sana magka-interest sila maging filmmaker. Bigyan ko sila ng skills na karunungan na kaya nila maging magaling. Pangalawa, kung wala namang balak ko maging filmmaker, magaling po ng maging magaling na manonood. At maintindihan nyo kung masabi nyo kung maganda ang isang pelikula o hindi, base sa isang framework.
Which is important.
Yes. Hindi I like it, I don't like it. Okay lang naman na may personal taste, ano? But then if you have a framework, you can talk about it to other people. I think this is not good because based on this, ganyan. And what happens? This will it is tantamount to demanding better cinema from the filmmakers. That being said, filmmakers will then be forced to create better cinema for you. Now, I will quote the late Dino Broca, who said that the hope of Philippine cinema does not lie in the great Filipino filmmaker. It lies in the great Filipino audience. Because only the audience will be able to demand good cinema from its filmmakers. So if we do not develop it, kasi ang ginagawa ko, I've always been an advocate. I've been saying this all the time, no, that cinema should be a subject in grade school.
Yeah, I was about to tell that earlier since we were talking about the filmmaking and the culture, bakit siya nalo-lost track. It's because maybe kailangan pang yun. Is it possible na sana kasama yan?
I've been talking to some congressmen na kaibigan ko, and I hope they spearhead it. But the thing is, that's also one of the reasons why I do the lecture. This is an experiment. And whatever findings I find from the lectures, I will submit to my congressman friends in order for them to draft a bill to create a cinema subject.
True.
Grassroots. Na mangyari dyan. Kasi we are ruled by cinema. Filipinos like movies.
Yes.
So why don't we start the appreciation, the lessons in film appreciation early. Na, di ba, para ma-develop natin. Hindi ko naman sinasabi na huwag na tayo gumawa ng mga pelikula ni Vice Ganda. Kaya okay yung mga yon, maganda yung mga yon. Pero may market sila. But what I want us to do is to diversify to other markets so that we can bring in money from outside. And imagine, they would provide more jobs, more opportunities for artists. Yung mga artists dito sa bansa na ito, po struggling. Eh, di ba, syempre, gusto rin naman namin, pangapin namin magkabahay, magkakotse, magkawin ng retirement fund. So, hindi mo pwedeng struggling kami the whole time. And that's what I'm fighting for. So, if you want to help out, at the very least, join my lectures. Try to figure out what I'm talking about. Then spread the word. Become an informed audience. Or even better, become an informed filmmaker. And you can add to the quest of national cinema. Yan po ang ginagawa ko ngayong pandemya.
Tsaka, when we speak of innovation, tsaka nakikita ko po yung roadmap, at least po, with Direct Mike Sandejas, he's been explaining, meron siyang patutunguhan kasi it's not just for the filmmakers, but also for us na the audience. Kung may innovation sa filmmaking, dapat may innovation rin sa mga manonood. Kasi doon kasi nakasalalay lahat eh. Also, Direct, how does itong mga awarding bodies, how do they classify if the film is good? Kasi may kasamang a choice of the audience.
No, not all award giving bodies are equal. Yung membership ng mga yan may mas academic, yung iba may mas showbiz. Maganda po ang awards. Pero hindi po yan basehan ng kahit ano. Hindi rin po nakakain ng award. So, maganda yan. Kung pinagpala kayo, magkaroon kayo ng award, pag malaki sa magulang nyo, maganda yan. Pero hanggang dun lang yun. Huwag po natin ibase ang ating karera sa isang award. Kahit po, dati pagkakamali ko yan, nanalo ko Best Picture, akala ko galing ko. Madami pa pala akong kailangan matutunan. If I knew then what I know now, my first film would have gone further. Alam mo yun? So, mangyayari dyan, whatever I won back then does not really mean anything. Maybe, it gives me some credibility that because now I'm teaching, but it really doesn't mean a thing. If anybody tells you otherwise, Pauli has a lot of awards and I'm happy for you. But then, nobody will admit, awards mean nothing. Especially if medyo local. Kung manalo ka sa iba, depende sino nagbigay sa'yo. Sa dami ng awards sa pinamimigay sa buong mundo, kahit pa paano may makukuha ka eh. Diba? Sige, meron ka. Wag mo naman parating hawak, di ba? Yung mga, sige, meron ka, happy kami. Palakpakan ka namin. O, tama na. Di ba? Pwede ako nanalo ka sa Cannes, sa Berlin, sa Venice, ng Oscar, sa Golden Globe. Why not? Yan okay. Pero kahit sabihin mo manalo ka ng Oscar, hindi ka pa rin dapat tumigil. Minsan nakakasira pa po ang pag nanalo ka ng award. Kasi akala
talaga kami minsan direct sa information. Talagang kung ako naman po tatanungin or kahit mag-survey tayo, not really all are informed or well-detailed regarding films, awarding, paano nagiging basta alam namin nanalo si ganyan. Andun na rin lahat ng madla.
It's good for publicity kasi. Yan ang pinaka-number one na nagagawa po ng isang award. Napopromote yung pelikula. At minsan, pag mataas yung pinanalo, nagtatranslate po yan na manunod ng mga tao.
Yes. Parang yun kasi yung parang nagiging definition eh. Kapag ito, ganun, kahit paulit-ulit siyang with the same team, with the same next year ito, siya pa rin ulit.
It's a good way to have credibility. But in the long run, I mean, it just really does.
Yes.
Eventually, it just loses steam, right? Well, it just really doesn't mean much as well. Kasi mangyayari dyan, if you rest on your laurels, you won't evolve. Sometimes if you win early, which pretty much happened to me, medyo na I rested on my laurels, I stopped evolving, and it was a mistake. So, I think hindi, nanalo na ako. Ganun na lang ulit gagawin ko.
Oo, yun.
So, kailangan kasi nag-grow ka pa rin. So, magandang may award. Pero let's not put so much weight to award. And, ang pumipili yung huradong namimili ng award, ilang tao lang. So, para sa akin, ano po mas importante kaysa award? Mas importante po sa akin, yung mas madaming nanood ng pelikula ko. Yung po, hindi mo ba ipagpapalit, mas malaking award po yun, na kung kumita ka, or naririnig mo, kumakalat yung pelikula mo, nag-viral yan, at sinasabi lang maganda. Yung ganong klaseng appreciation po, that is priceless. Na pag nakita mo na pinalakpangan ka, naka-standing ovation yung buong teatro mo, napuno yung teatro mo, yan po ang tunay na award ng isang pelikula. Pag nakita mo na yung manunood, nagalingan sa ginawa mo. There's no better feeling than that.
Having said po, I think this lockdown or this pandemic has done good things po sa inyo. Can you share more about it to our viewers po?
Well, primarily it's because of the lecture series. I think for everybody, I think this was a time that everybody needed to rest and to think about their own lives. And I am a God-fearing person. I am a Catholic. I was able to utilize the time to renew my faith. And good things happen in life if you are in God's favor. So if you want good things to happen to you, it's not enough to do good deeds. Maganda yan. Minsan okay na naman yun. But the thing is, I believe that you should have that relationship with God. And the pandemic really gave you the time to renew it. If you haven't done that, it's not too late yet. But what happened was, I think the idea of the lectures, these new opportunities that are coming out, this new mindset that I have, I think came out of the early days of the pandemic, where I had so much quiet time. I decided to spend it with God. So if I did not do that, we might not be talking right now. So if there's anything that I'd like to tell you, it's not even about cinema. You spend time with the Lord. Find His favor. When you are in His favor, everything will just fall into place. And that's sort of like, I'm like an example of that. No? I'm not totally there yet, but when you look at it, He gave me something to do. I'm very productive. I have new opportunities. Hopefully, I'll be doing a movie again. And my mindset is much more positive, despite really the negativity of this pandemic. So if you want, pwede na ba ako mag-imbita? O di pa tayo tapos? So kasi,
the next question, upcoming projects to expect from isang direct by Sandejas. Go ahead.
I can't really tell you if the projects will happen now, maybe not yet, but I'm sure somehow you'll find out about it. Maybe I'll talk to Belle, maybe interview me again pag meron na, but right now wala, because it's a dangerous time to do what I'm doing. Even I am scared to go out. You don't know. I believe if you were meant to get, or you would succumb to it, and I think that's God's will. I believe that everything happens for us. But I also believe that we shouldn't be stupid. Okay, so at least you follow the protocols. You make sure other people follow them as well. Just to be able to help na lang stop this pandemic. So I can't tell you if there's anything. The only thing that I have right now is the Sandejas Film Lecture Room. If you want to join us, not only do I offer film knowledge, I also offer a community that is very positive. You get to meet friends. I have members from different countries. I have 2 people from Australia. I have a doctor in China. Kami naman Pinoy. May hindi Pinoy. I have a British-Pakistani mother and son from the UK. I have somebody from Spain. I have somebody from Saudi Arabia. Kasi may iba naman, kasi nalalaman nila sa Facebook, kasi parang isang lugar lang tayo. Nagugulat na lang ako, nasa Japan pala si ganyan. So the perspectives we share are all different. And they all add themselves to each other on Facebook. And now I have a community. So if you're feeling sad sometimes on a Saturday night, why don't you spend it with us? And I guarantee you, so far, nobody has said anything bad about my lecture. The feedback has been good. I get to unlock. Napapagod ako, pero hindi bale. Basta napapasaya ko lahat at natutulungan ko sila. Maligaya po ako nun. So, if you're not from here in the Philippines, if you're from another country and you're listening, just search for it. Sandejas Film Lecture Room. And just you just click on the join button. Then, I'll be there to personally talk to you. I charge a little fee, very little. I mean, one-time membership fee of 2,000 pesos. But considering that I have 15 modules and counting, when you do the math, that's like what, $100 a lecture, and it goes smaller pa, no? So there are some naman who can't afford it, na because it's the time of the pandemic, even something that small, medyo hirap. Madali yung pakiusapan. Minsan I ask na lang for something else kasi I believe in the universal rule of fair exchange. So sometimes barter, may lumang libro ka dyan, pwede, padala mo ng kape, pwede din yun. Or pagdasal mo ko, maligaya na ako. So, all in the spirit of positivity. I have 300 members and probably the ones who actually paid the membership fee, mga 50 people lang. The rest were just there because I let them in. Again, it's less than a business, it's more of an advocacy. So I invite everybody to join us and, you might find a home online with us.
Wow. So, napakaganda po ng pinupursu ng advocacy po ninyo, Direk. I just so hope na lahat, especially nga ngayon, na wala kasi, marami po tao, wala masyado talagang ginagawa eh. So, if your passion is into, like, you read a lot, nangangarap ka rin na makapag-produce ng movie, you watch a lot, ako rin mismo, I'm asking you to visit the page na sinabi po ni Direk. And also, baka may matutunan tayo. Kasi ito yung panahon na hindi tayo basta-basta lang dapat na stock up sa bahay, walang ginagawa. So, yung mga walang naghahanap ng kanilang mga hobby, so, try nyo po i-join itong ating, this is filmmaking lecture with Direct Mike Sandejas. And also po, meron kasing mga iba na nais mag-direct or gumawa ng mga series or mga films. Ano po ang mga, ganun po ba kadaling mag-shoot sa labas? Anything na kailang guidelines na kailangan sundin para ma-aware lang po yung mga gustong mag-use ng...
In the professional sense, medyo madaming proseso. Lalo kung shooting kasi isang barangay, yung babayad ko kasi sa mga ganyan. But what I teach in the lecture room is that even in your own home, you can make a short film that is something significant. Hindi yung laro-laro lang. Ipapakita ko kung paano at bakit. Kasi, mahirap lumabas eh.
Yes.
At saka ano gamit mo? Mayroon kang cellphone. Pwede ka mag-download ng editing app. Yung ginagamit ko yung Splice. Wala akong kinikita dyan. Ano lang, binabanggit ko na maganda. Then, using the principles that you learn from it, you can make something short that you can be proud of. Kasi I always say, kahit sabihin mong cellphone lang yan, maganda nga actually yung camera ng mga cellphone. It's not in the gun, it's in the shooter. Kung ikaw nagkaroon ng skill at magandang vision, pag-iisip sa paggawa ng maybe natutunan mo sila. Kakayanin mo gumawa ng kahit short, kahit sa loob ng bahay mo lang. At magpapakita ko ng samples. In fact, the lecture room has a film contest. Ang pangalan po ng film contest namin, medyo matatawa kayo sa pangalan. Ang pangalan ito yung the first Sandejas film competition. Ito yung short film competition na 1 to 5 minutes na ang kategorya po ay kung sinong mga short film best exemplify the lessons learned in the room. Ganun ko-open. Okay? Pero magbibigay daw ng samples at open ako for consultation. Ginagawa ko nga at sinicheating ko na nga. Binibigay ko yung magandang idea pa, magandang gawa nila. So they can be proud of it. Tinuturo ko ano yung mga kailangan. So, meron ako consultation time. Pag sabihin ko yung consultation time, ibubuk mo lang isang oras. Nagbibigay talaga, para talagang teacher.
Yes.
So, up at stake, hindi mo kalakihan, meron kaming prizes. Yung aming mascot sa room, chicken.
Yeah.
Isa to sa mga trophy. Okay, kaya chicken yan, kasi nung minsan nagle-lecture kami, yung artistang estudyante ko, si Robert Senya, ay may katabi palang tandang. So, biglang tumilaok, natigil bigla yung lecture. Wala nun, naging running joke naman, ginawa na yung mascot. So, ito ang trophy. lalagyan ko ng medalya ng gold, silver, bronze. Mananalo ka ng trophy kung nasa first 3 winners ka. Meron 10 finalists. Ang grand prize namin, hindi mo kalaki yan, 10,000 piso po. Pero sa panahon ng pandemya, 10,000 din yon. But the reason why hindi ko pinalaki, baka kasi may madaya sa mga estudyante ko, biglang mag-hire ng professional, di ba? Kung mag-hire ng professional, ano ba matitira sa 10,000? Di ba? So, siyempre nag-iisip ako. Tapos may mga iba pa kaming prizes na may sponsors kami tulad ng Unilever. So hindi ko pa ina-announce yan. We hope to be able to do the awards night sometime late September, early October. So kung gusto nyo mag-participate dyan, sumama na po kayo sa Sandejas Film Lecture Room. Para matulungan ko na kayo at makaisip kayo ng... Tsaka madami kayong may kilala po doon. May mga director din akong estudyante, may mga cinematographer, may mga actors. Yung pinakasikat ko ang actor na estudyante ko, si Ryan Eigenman, nandun. Nandun siya.
So we have to our last 2 questions, Direk po.
Yes.
Para tayo po sa time ha. Ito lang po is a piece of advice sa mga aspiring film directors right now. And also, mensahe po sa ating current administration, ating gawin.
Ganda ng tanong yan. Hinuli talaga. My advice for aspiring filmmakers, you study. Parang doktor po, gusto mo maging doktor, kailangan matuto ko medicine. Gusto mo maging filmmaker, matuto ko ng film. Kung hindi kayo mag-film school, find alternative sources of information. Isa na dyan po yung aking lecture room. At madami pong libro din yan. At yung pinaka-effective learning situation is to apprentice with a filmmaker. Hopefully somebody who's established and well-respected. Kasi kung yung filmmaker mo hindi naman ganun kagaling, wala kang matutunan. So how do you do that? You try to expand your network. And maybe eventually, pag may call for interns, tanggapin nyo na kagad. There's nothing like becoming an apprentice. Ano ginagawa ng apprentice? Sa umpisa po, magtitimpla kayo ng kape. Wala pong masama dun. At ganun talaga kahit anong apprenticeship sa kahit anong industriya. So mag-uumpisa kayo sa baba. At huwag kayo mahihiya. At huwag po kayong nagmamadali. Learn, grow. I think that answers the second to the last. The last question, I try not to really say anything about what's going on because I tend to be very aggressive also. I am very disappointed with what's happening. I mourn for my country because, good leadership could have made big difference. And it's hard enough that they're not good leaders. It's even worse when they admit that they're not good leaders.
Yes.
So, here's the thing. I believe in miracles. You pray for our president. Maybe some people might say, he doesn't deserve prayers. He's still human. He's still a child of God. And let's just hope that he hasn't forgotten God, and that's why we have to pray for him. And maybe a miracle can happen. A little divine intervention. Dapuan lang yan ng Holy Spirit kung bago po yung tao. So, let's not give up hope on the country. And even on him. I dare say, you pray for the guy. Maybe that's what he needs. Diba? There's nothing else to do anyway. You have all the time. You wake up in the morning, say a prayer for our country, say a prayer for our president, say a prayer for our people. It only takes a few minutes. Maybe that's the best that we can do it. And that, in that sense, we'll remain positive and we will always have hope. And that's more important.
Thank you so much po for all of the time and everything sa ating mga viewers. I just so hope na marami tayong natutunan with our Direk Mike Sandejas. And Direk, pakiulit na lang po ulit sa ating mga viewers na nais mag-tanong or mag-enroll sa inyong filmmaking.
Okay. Hanapin niyo po sa Facebook, yung aming Facebook group. I-type niyo lang po yung Sandejas Film Lecture Room. At lilitaw na po yon, yung link na yon. Tapos, i-click niyo lang po yung join. Tapos ako po mismo ang babati sa inyo. Kasi minamicromanage ko talaga, kinikilala ko talaga lahat. So, abangan ko po kayo. Sana po sumali kayo. May mga members po kami ng mga high school. So, pwede rin po sa high school po. Yung grade school, baka hindi pa ho. Pero, kasi K1 to K12 na ngayon So, alam niyo naman, siguro sabihin mo, anybody 13 and above can actually appreciate it. So, madami po akong topics na kakaiba. At sinisigurado ko po na maintindihan niyo po yan. At saka, I'm always available really for any questions or clarification. I'm always available. At masaya po kami. Minsan meron po kaming mga special film screenings. In fact, meron kami sa August 8 na yung documentary po tungkol doon sa dating artistang si Weng Weng na ginawa po ng isang Australian filmmaker, ipapalabas po namin. At yung Australian filmmaker po will be present for Q&A. So meron kaming mga special events na ganyan. So, outside of just the lectures, madami kaming ginagawa. So, kasama na po doon yung film contest. O wag na po kayo magkatumili, sumali na po kayo at abangan ko po.
Ayun.
So, Bella, abangan din kita doon.
Oo, don't worry po, direct dadalawin ko po yung page na yan. At saka yun, sa ating mga viewers, maraming salamat po direct sa time. Ma'am Linda,
Thank you for having me.
Abangan po natin si Direct Mike sa Canadian outlet naman po natin. So, iset lang po natin lahat. At maraming salamat. Isang masaganang kalakayan po at usapan ni Direct Mike Sandejas. Huwag po tayong ngayong COVID po, hindi po dahil marami pong itong sa nangyayaring pandemya ay dapat na panghihinaan ng loob. Marami po tayong pwedeng gawin sa loob ng pamamahay natin. So, sana magsilbing inspirasyon po lahat ang mga naging usapan namin. Kapit lang po tayo at sabi nga ni Direk, magdasal po tayo, which is yan po talaga ang kailangan at sandata natin sa panahon na ngayon. Maraming salamat po ulit. Ako po si Isabel Fernandez sa Live Life with Belle.